Hey Gig Harbor, as promised, we're back. This is Jeff Brown.
And I'm Gwen Gilliam.
And we are local realtors here in Gig Harbor. And we're here today with Howard Mackert. And we are going to bring you a story that is really cool and has to do with integrity. And so we're going to call this segment, and going forward have this segment, it's called Local Integrity.
Cool. Very good. Howard, thanks for being here today and chatting with us. This is Howard with Mackert Automotive, and he's created a really amazing program called Cars for Change.
Yeah.
Cars number 4, right?
Yep.
Change. Awesome. And
Thanks,
so,
Gwen.
Howard, if you want to just tell us a little bit about the program,
Sure.
that'd be fantastic.
Well, first I got to say I love the title of this program, Integrity, because that's what our business is built on. When I started almost 18 years ago, we opened the weekend after 9/11. And people are like, wow, that's terrible timing. I said, you don't know the business. Because in a recession, automotive repair booms because people fix old cars instead of going and buying a new one.
Right.
Sure.
And but we've built our business on integrity. And competence and integrity are amazing combination. A business coach of mine helped develop our tagline, which is expertise you can trust from people who care. And so this is a great segue into the caring side. So about 3 or 4 years ago, one of my fellow Rotarians, I'm on the Friday morning Rotary group club, she texted me about a radiator. She says, how much is a radiator for a Camry? Well, I knew she was mentoring a young gal who had just come out of the Purdy prison. And of course I said, well, what year and what engine, and more information than she knew. I didn't get a response. So Friday morning I saw her at the club and I said, what's with the radiator? And she says, oh my gosh, the whole engine is shot. She needs a car to get to work. And she's got a 3-year-old little kid, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And so she put in a request if anybody had a spare vehicle that Deidre could borrow. So I did. I had an old Chevy Blazer. It was kind of our shop truck. We didn't loan it out to customers for a loaner car because we didn't know how dependable it was. And really, I thought, it's a disposable car. If something happens to it, just keep it. I don't want it back. So I let her borrow this Blazer. Well, a few months in, it wouldn't go. And I don't know if it didn't start or what the problem was, but she asked her roommate for a ride to work, and she said, sure. So it came time to go, and her roommate wasn't ready, and she said, what's the deal? And she said, well, she'd talked to some friends of theirs who were going to drive right past where she worked, and they were going to drop her off. So she gets in the car, she's in the back seat, they decide to stop and do a drug deal, and they get busted while she's in the car. And you know what that means. She's on parole, blah, 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 18 months back in the big house because she didn't have a reliable car. And when I found out about that, it just broke my heart. I just said, oh gosh, if she'd had a reliable car, she'd have had those 18 months with her little boy. Yeah. Made me stop and think, I can do something about this. I've been in Gig Harbor for 27 years. I know people, I have contacts. If I don't do this, who's going to? Mm-hmm. And so I just thought, this is a perfect time. I'm not involved in the day-to-day operations of my business. It kind of runs itself, luckily. And so I have time to invest in this. So we put together a board and a 501c3 and formed Cars for Change so that we could provide vehicles for these ladies coming out of prison. Because if they can't be independent, they're going to have to rely on the same people that got them in prison in the first place. So Cars for Change is providing transportation to women coming out of prison so they can start a new life.
I love that.
That is fantastic. Now, I have a question. So how do you choose the next woman coming out of prison that gets the car?
Yeah, great question. We don't have the facility to have a line out the door and take a number for a car. There's a lot of people in need out there, and we realize that. But we had to have a filter to say who's going to be our first recipients. And so since this was birthed out of the Rotary Prison Release Program, we thought that was a natural place to go for these candidates. So Buck Freimeyer started that program about 7 or 8 years ago, and they've trained over 600 inmates in that span. It's amazing. Our current police chief does some training in the prison. He's one of the trainers for these release programs. So a huge number of people have been impacted by receiving that generosity and by giving it out, because givers gain, So through the Rotary prison foundation, they provide scholarships for these ladies so that they can take classes while they're in prison and when they get out.
Fantastic.
So right now, our first recipient, we're so proud. If you saw my Facebook, if we're not Facebook friends, then friend me, because you'll see Jenny Iredale. And Jenny is a 40-year-old gal with a 10-year-old daughter, and she's going to graduate this fall as a chemical dependency professional. So she's already 3 years into her degree, and this fall she's going to graduate. In March, she starts this middle of this month, she started her practicum where she has to go around to lots of different places. And before we gave her a car, her mom would have to get up at 5 in the morning and take her dad to work so that she'd have the car so she could take Jenny to college and the daughter to school.
Wow.
And so this blessed the family and Jenny. And so we're just super thrilled to have such an amazing young lady be our first recipient. And if you go to, soon we'll have a Facebook page. We have some video that we're going to utilize for that. But you can contact us through Cars for Change, the number 1 at gmail.com. And that's the best way to get a hold of us. We have tax deductible donations are always welcome to help us take care of more and more ladies. Thank you.
Hi guys, so I'm assuming that, or we are assuming that you all want to know how you can help, right? What an awesome program. How can we help Howard make this even more successful? We're going to attach the email address below. Howard's going to get us some info on his Facebook page, so we'll put that below as well. One thing that we know about Gig Harbor is this community knows how to give back. So what a fantastic opportunity.
Yeah, this is an amazing program that Howard has set up, and the first recipient of the very first car just happened, and it's so amazing. And we're going to try to get clips of that video also and put it on our link to this website, to our website, and that way you guys can see exactly the excitement and the amazing story that is behind what Howard's doing right now. So hopefully you loved this segment. This is kind of what we do. You know, Love Gig Harbor is going around Gig Harbor, finding people, finding businesses, finding groups that are doing the right thing. So we call this one Local Integrity. We're going to try to do 1 or 2 segments a month on people that are doing the right thing without being asked, and they don't ask for any publicity. But you know what? We're going to bring some spotlight to it because, you know, everybody needs help in the programs they do and the things they're offering. Why not Gig Harbor step up and help Howard out, and let's get it to where he can do 12 cars a year. Right now he's hoping to do it quarterly, but if we get enough donations from our amazing town, you know, he'll be able to do a whole lot more. So anything you guys can do to help, we would love to have your support, and we'd love for you to support Howard and his quest at this whole process. So anyway.
That's it. I think that's all. If you guys know of any other local businesses doing fantastic things like this as well, we would love to hear from you.
Yes, we'd love to have input on who would be our next person that's, you know, just local integrity. So
very good. Thanks for your time, you guys. Again, I'm Gwen Gilliam.
I'm Jeff Brown.
We're both local realtors here in Gig Harbor. Have a great weekend.